Pragmatics and the English language learner, bridging the gap of understanding figurative language in the ELL classroom. Figurative language is the way that something is said but should not be taken literally. Some examples of figurative language are idioms, similes, metaphors, hyperbole, personification, and automatopoeia. That was a piece of cake is an example of an idiom. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Simile. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon the cloudy seas. Metaphor. He's the greatest basketball player in the world. Hyperbole. The sun smiled down on me. Personification. Smash, boom, bam. Automatopoeia. These can be difficult for our English language learners because they do not mean what they say literally. Pragmatics is a subfield of linguistics that considers the meanings of words that are spoken. Pragmatic competence is when a student has achieved a higher proficiency level in the language. To achieve pragmatic competence using figurative language, the learner will need instruction and strategies to do so. Struggles for ELLs. Being able to speak and use figurative language can be difficult for English language learners. If the student is unfamiliar with the meaning, it can create misunderstanding and miscommunication. Exposure in a pragmatic classroom where students are immersed in figurative language can increase their proficiency. There are strategies that teachers can use to develop pragmatic competence in the classroom. Observations and studies have been done by educators to create a classroom environment that nurtures growth in the ELL learner. The strategies are explicit instruction, connection to the real world, dialogue and context, modeling and independent practice, visualization, and finally, use of the native language. Let's take a closer look at the strategies. Explicit instruction. The teacher identifies the text and then determines what it means figuratively. This could be done with the sample below. The teacher would have the students read the text, locate the words, and then explain the meaning. Posters and visual aids are also a strategy that should be in the classroom. This is an example of an idiom poster that has pictures depicting their literal meaning. Are you ready to be a detective? Context clues. Teaching students to use context clues. It's like being a detective and looking and listening very closely for the clues. When you use clues in a story to figure out the meaning of a new word, you're using context clues. Another strategy is modeling and independent practice. Below are example of students' independent practice. To model this lesson, I drew pictures of idioms literally and then asked probing questions for the students to figure out the meaning. To follow up, the students wrote idiomatic expressions and drew them literally. They then challenged each other to figure out the meaning. Another strategy is visualization. There are YouTube videos that give examples of figurative language in commercials and in movies. This is Mr. Palindrome. He acts out idioms literally. This really engages the children. A final strategy is success in native language. Students who are successful academically in their native language show a greater success in learning a second language. Encouraging them to understand their native language will help them make the connection with their second language. In conclusion, pragmatics is a key part to the puzzle that develops proficiency in our English language learners. With our support as educators, and in an academic environment that supports immersion and growth, we can play a part in that growth. So teaching figures of speech should be a piece of cake, right? Well, maybe not for everyone, but a great way to build pragmatic competence.